Good morning. The old man here, March 16th, 2025. Well, some of the things going on around here, here in Michigan, the weather's warming up some. We've been hitting, the 60s and that, and pretty warm weather for this time of year for us. Been doing some more canning. I'm getting to the bottom of my second 50-pound bag of beans, and I think when I get done with that, I'll be good for a while there. In the future, we're going to be doing some butchering. I've got some more roosters to butcher, and got some more drakes to butcher. Carried them through the winter. They were a little small this fall, and now they're full size and eating like the proverbial pigs, going through quite a bit of food. So it's time to put them in the freezer. And with that being said, here in May, we've got a cow coming. We're going to have that butchered and then get it in the freezer. The freezers will be temporary as I get a chance to process it and or can it. Through the summer, I'm not a big fan of canning in the summertime, but this summer I will be doing just that. Kind of hard to say how and where things are going and when they're going to get there. Although it's, at this time, energy is cheap. Things like jars and lids are available. Therefore, I'm going to get as much work done as I can. I'm not going to wait for things to possibly go sideways. Not necessarily saying it's going to, but it's possible. And therefore, I want to get a bunch of work done ahead of time. Been digesting a lot of what's going on in the world. The globalists in Europe are doubling down on stupid. They think that they can go up against Russia. They've learned nothing from the past. I think they believe that if they get in there, boots on the ground or whatever in Russia, that when they get in trouble, the United States is going to come and bail them out again like we always have in the past. I don't think that's the case this time. I think Trump is trying to make it perfectly clear to them, if that's a decision they make, that they're on their own. And that's going to be a huge, huge, huge mistake. Russia and its demographics are very difficult to penetrate if you're going after Russia head on. Look at history, it's out there, and you'll see. I'm not going over that in the video, but very difficult to penetrate, very big mistake. But getting on beyond that, gold and silver is becoming more and more important every day. To tell you the truth, when I started a year and a half ago, it's actually a year and probably 8 months now, whatever, July 4th of 23 at any rate, I started stacking. And I'll tell you, for at least the first year, I wondered if I was making a mistake, wondering whether the market was going to crash at some point in the gold and silver markets, not so much the stock market, of which now we've seen that come to a head and roll over, and that's slowly grinding down. It has its small rallies, but at the end of the day, I think it's pretty obvious that what direction that is going. Gold and silver is obviously going to play a huge role in the world in the future. There's many factors there as well. The globalists, therefore the BIS, when they made gold a tier 1 asset, that gave all central banks in the world the approval, if you will, to start to de-dollarize. In fact, prior to that, the only tier 1 asset was U.S. government bonds. Now it's gold, or it's also gold as a tier one asset. And as their economies have issues across the world, they will sell bonds to prop up their currency, and they'll accumulate gold as they can. So, obviously gold is going to be the number one savings for these countries, or the backing of any new currency they have in the future. So bonds are going to continue to be sold into the market, and or let them mature and just don't buy new bonds. It's just a sign of the fiat currencies coming to an end. And this was planned. It was planned by the globalists. And Trump has got to deal with it. And we have to deal with it. The good news is we've been putting the boots to the globalists in the United States. But the rest of the Western world has not. Like I said, if nothing else, they're doubling down on stupid. They don't want to let go. They don't want to seize they don't want to give up their power and control. And in any monetary system, or in any government system, or system period, it all starts with money. And since we went, in 33, when we were taken off of the gold standard and U.S. citizens could no longer hold gold, and we were forced to hold the fiat currency, that was basically a robber holding a gun to your back and telling you, to give me all your wealth. And that's exactly what they've done over the last, 80, 90 years or whatever, since 33. It just continued to get worse, and it actually had become very obvious during the Biden administration, which just so happened to coincide with the BIS making making gold a tier one asset. This is, like I said, this has all been planned, and now Trump's dealing with it, and I think he's doing a very good job. If somehow we'd have wound up with that godforsaken piece of crap out of California, oh my God, this would be ugly. I wouldn't even be talking about gold and silver, because I'm telling you, you'd have to stack ammo to the rafters. It would be so ugly in this country and throughout the world. I can see Europe having many problems this summer. They're trying to turn over their governments to get rid of the globalists, but yet they keep getting globalists. Even Canada, Trudeau stepped down, and now we've got this other idiot that even worse than he was running the country. Well, I'm here to tell you, the majority of Canada does not want him any more than we wanted Waltz, what's her name? Can't even speak her name, can't even think of it. She's history as far as I'm concerned. I don't care who she is. But she's irrelevant. But I think Trump, obviously trolling the Canadians, basically saying, hey, here's your alternative. If you get tired of the globalists in your country and you either don't have the strength or the willpower to get rid of them, come on and join us. We got your back. And I think that'll be most of the Western provinces and the Northern Territories of Canada will come with us. We'll see how that plays out. Interesting, though. I love the fact that he's trolling them, trolling the globalists in Canada, basically letting the globalists know that we're not going to stand for globalists on our northern border. It just ain't going to happen. So we'll see how that all plays out. Very interesting. Loving it, though. He's not going to put up with that bullshit. As far as gold and silver is concerned, I am no longer, mostly because of my research, no longer worried about gold and silver crashing at all. I'm more worried about it escalating so fast that the U.S. citizens have no opportunity to get in. Because at the end of the day, the only money is gold and silver, possibly even copper, and the rest is credit, and credit is coming to an end. In other words, if credit is all you have, you will have nothing. Your 800 credit score ain't gonna mean shit. The fact, you got a $300,000 or $400,000 house loan ain't gonna mean shit. Back in the 2008 collapse, there's a lot of people that had houses that were so overvalued. It's nothing like it is today, but still they were overvalued. And honestly, they owed more on the home than the home was worth. And a lot of people just went to the bank and handed them the keys, said, here you go, good luck. And this time around, the banks aren't getting bailed out. It just can't happen. Number one, the Frank-Dodd Act has made it so that banks are bailed in. In other words, depositors, anybody over that has over $200,000 in the bank, that money will not, anything over 200,000 will not be insured. But beyond that, even if you're under 200,000, you're going to wait a long time to get paid. So any money in the bank is going to be a deficit, or how do you want to say it, a liability rather than an asset. Right now, you might think of that money as an asset in the bank. It's not. It can be at the moment if you get it out of the bank and use it for something like gold and silver, or even buying something that has value, whatever else that may be besides gold and silver. But having your money in the bank is not the place to be right now. Having your money in the stock market is not the place to be. Your 401k might be looking really awesome. The numbers keep going up. But at the end of the day, the only way you can get out of that market is to cash it in for fiat, and fiat is on its way to zero. So no matter how high the numbers are in your account, either in the bank, or how high your numbers are in your stock portfolio, the numbers are slowly going to come down. And if you decide to get out and the dollar is trash, and the only way you're going to get paid is in dollars, you're SOL either way. So stocks are going to be trash, dollars are going to be trash, and it's going to cost you more and more of those fiat dollars to trade into gold. And gold is going to, like I said, gold and silver is money. Everything else is credit. So you're going to get hurt really bad. I know so many people that I talk to every day, very close friends, family, do not see it, do not want to believe it, no matter what I say. And so I've almost got to the point where, I'll just keep showing them the success of saving and prepping and de-dollarizing and gathering gold and silver, and let them come to their own conclusions at their own time. Some people, they won't see the writing on the wall till gold's $5,000, and then they'll think, oh, wow, I wish I would have bought way back when. Well, I tried to tell you, but you didn't want to see it. So, it really doesn't matter. I'm not thinking about how high silver is going to go. I'm not thinking about how high gold is going to go. What I'm thinking about is how low the dollar is going to go. How soon are we getting to zero? I am totally amazed today that people will take the fiat fake currency and actually take it on trade for something real like gold and silver. It amazes me every time I do it. Actually, I'm like, I can't believe people are still taking this shit. But they are. And again, it's the only option I have in business too, is either taking a credit card or taking, the fiat dollar. But man, I'm telling you, I take whatever I can as soon as I can and trade it for real money instead of fake fiat bullshit. So I don't know. All I can do is just keep on moving that way. I know some friends, I think it almost seems like no matter what they do, it can't make that big of a difference. Buying silver and gold is just a waste of time. Or, I'll buy a little bit here and a little bit there, maybe just because, you talk about it so much. I think I'll buy some. And honestly, they don't get it yet. They will. Unfortunately, they will. They'll get it, but it'll be later than sooner. It's just the way it is. It's just amazing to me. Some of the friends I know, they've even kind of backed off on canning. I think it's the fact that, when we had Biden in office, they saw the prudence of canning and stacking, and now they're kind of thinking, well, we're back to normal now. We can just go back to our old ways, and honestly, that's not the case. Trump is going to give us a much better result at the end of the day, but we got a ton of shit to go through in the meantime. We're going to get the best results possible. It's going to be much better than they're going to have in other countries, especially Europe. But still, we're going to have to go through a whole lot of crap in this reevaluation. And when everybody realizes that the dollar is done, then it's going to be insane. There's going to be a big rush for gold and silver. Premiums are going to be super high. And, honestly, what would it take? One more or two or three more bank failures. And that's coming. That's in our future. I don't know when. It's going to be a month, 6 months, a year and a half. I don't know. The more time we have before the majority of the people wake up, it's just the bigger opportunity we have to keep stacking. Like I said, with all the research I've done, I see no end to gold and silver having any big pullbacks. If you look at 81 and 2011, where gold and silver, especially silver, shot to the moon. If you look at that spike on the chart, you'll see it's a very short window, maybe a couple months, where where silver was at or near 50. Well, that's not going to be the case this time. We're going to slowly trudge through 50. We've trudged through 3,000. Now, is it set as a base yet? No, we can come back a little bit and then go above a little bit. Same thing with $35 silver. We're gonna break that 35 silver again. We're gonna trudge past it, and then we're gonna come back. It's just people on the fiat paper market taking profits. When it hits 35, they're gonna take some profit, and it's gonna come back a little bit. But then it's going to go above it. But actually, from 35 and beyond, everything else that you've seen in the past was just a fake. Well, I don't want to say it was fake. It was real, but it was a spike. And then they turned around and papered over it. Well, this time, because of gold being a tier 1 asset, it's not going to be able to be papered over again. In fact, they think of the bond market or the bonds as someplace, it's a safe haven, coming back into cash. waiting for the stock market to crash and then come back in again. They say it's safe because the government's never going to, the government is going to choose to inflate our problems away, and they're not going to default. Well, this may be the time we actually, at some point, have to default. And when we default, we're going to drop right back to gold and silver as our money, period. Now, how it's going to work exactly, couldn't tell you. My thinking is, I will never sell my gold and silver. You might say, well, then what good's it going to do you if you're never going to sell it? Well, in the future, you'll be able to borrow. In fact, it's already here. You can go to, there are some banks out there that you can borrow against your metals. You know, you don't have to sell them. You can borrow against them. If you want to start a business or even say when the stock market, or maybe not so much the stock market, but when the housing market gets at or near the bottom, of which it will, there might be some really good deals on property, but in this time, instead of selling your metals, you borrow against your metals and you buy that property that gives you cash flow, you pay back your loan, and you take the profit and buy more metal. If you can, you may not even be able to, but then maybe you just, you live off that cash flow. We'll see. We'll see how it rolls, but I wouldn't be worried about a collapse. Quite a few of the talking heads, and when I say that, worry about a collapse in the metal markets, it's not. I don't see that coming at all. Again, just because of the BIS making gold a tier 1 asset, I think bonds are dead. They're gone. They're just holding on for now, just like the fiat currency is holding on for now. But when that dollar collapses and, you know, it takes a wheelbarrow full of dollars to buy you a loaf of bread, where's the bond going to be? In the shitter, you know? So the only real value is going to be your gold and silver. Now, you're going to put a dollar figure on it? No. A dollar, you know, the gold's still going to buy what it's always bought. It's just the price of everything is going to come down to a realistic amount. Well, we're at 22 minutes or so. I think about time to wrap it up. First video I've done in quite a while. Been getting a lot of things done around here, doing a lot of thinking, digesting a lot of information. We can talk about it, but honestly, at the end of the day, if you know what direction we're headed in, it really doesn't matter. We're not going to change world events, not each individual person, but you can change your events. You can change how your life goes from here on in. Many will be crushed, and they will start from zero. Even an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver is a whole lot better than starting from zero. I highly recommend, if you don't have silver and gold, to work on it. Work on getting some, at least get some silver. And if you got a stack of either one, just keep working on it. Keep plugging away. You know, don't lose sight. Don't wait for a big pullback. I don't think you're going to see any big pullback. I think you'll see occasional profit taking, and, you know, maybe for a week or two, gold or silver's down a little bit, but then we're going to trudge right on past that again. So just keep stacking. That's all I can say. Keep prepping. You know, I think, like I said, you know, you got to have your ammunition. You got to have your firearm, sure. But at this point, I don't think you need to be too crazy about it. However, you know, I think you're going to find when credit comes to an end, supply chains are going to be a mess for a while. So food is going to be very important. And if you don't want to be that person standing in a bread line for 10 or 12 hours to hopefully get a loaf of bread, then you better work on your preps. And part of that is going to be gold and silver. The other thing to think about is if you got plenty of gold and silver, but you have no preps, you will spend all of your gold and silver trying to get food in the first 6 months to a year. And that also doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. So, you kind of got to work your way in on your preps, shore up your preps, make sure you're good there. Gold and with ammunition, firearms, food, they're all preps. Make sure you're good. And also in between, pick up some silver. At the very least, pick up some silver. Keeping in mind, you want to keep them premiums as low as possible. And I'll talk more about gold and silver premiums in the future. The other thing is strategies that I'll be talking about, strategies for keeping your gold and silver and not letting somebody basically, I want to say, talk you out of it, but I'll elaborate more on that later. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Bye.